We have a variety of tools based on your learning styles. There's ebooks if you like to read and study, there's videos if you like to listen, there's case studies if you like to hear stories, and there's also templates that you can use to help you through the process. So there's a variety of tools based on how you learn and to help you be more successful. Then the process itself, we've fine-tuned this process so that you're not wasting any time, and it takes you step by step, and there's checkpoints throughout the process to make sure that you're following it correctly and that you're doing the work correctly. And then there's coaches. The coaches will help you if you get stuck, any part of the process you get stuck on, anywhere along the way, a coach will come alongside you and work you through that step and make sure you're successful in reaching your end goal of buying the right company for you. We've seen trends where there's a lot of buyers who are struggling to buy a business, and bottom line is buyers really don't have the support. The sellers will have a CPA, an attorney, and a banker, and an advisor from the beginning, and a lot of buyers are out there by themselves trying to figure this out, and they're struggling on the way. And I've coached a lot of these buyers and helped them, and I've taken that knowledge that I've developed over the years and packaged it into a process now that can help more buyers, because I really see this as a tremendous need in the marketplace. I've had many buyers ask me, why don't I just start this business? It seems expensive to buy it. And what I tell them is there's three main factors that they're overlooking. One is success rate. Statistically speaking, businesses that are started fail in the first 2 years. The other factor is income. If they start a company, it could be 3 years before they actually take a paycheck out of it. So if you buy a business, your first paycheck's that first week of work, and you can start making income immediately. And the third factor is financing. A lot of people don't realize how difficult it is to get financing for a startup versus a successful business that has cash flow. You can get financing fairly easily. I've personally coached many buyers over the last 8 years, and as a team, we've coached hundreds of buyers. And in our experience, we've seen three different types of buyers. There's the passive buyer, there's the unrealistic buyer, and there's a novice buyer. The passive buyer is a buyer who will come and meet with us, and they say, if the right opportunity comes along, let me know. And they're waiting for years. They're trying to find the perfect opportunity, but they're not doing anything active to go find that opportunity. Then the other buyers, the unrealistic buyer, they tend to have expectations that are not reality. And so they're looking at a lot of companies, are working hard, are spending lots of money with CPAs and attorneys, and they're putting in offers that are never going to be accepted, and they just don't realize that. That's one of the things unrealistic. And also the time frame. They think they can do it quickly, but they're not taking a process to do it quickly, and it ends up taking years. And then the last type of buyer, the novice buyer, that's the most dangerous type. You hear people actually joke about this type of buyer, where they'll say, oh, that's a novice buyer, that's why they're paying so much for the company, more than they should, and they buy the first thing they can find versus looking at several opportunities to make sure it's the right match. So because of their lack of experience and high leverage, that they're overpaying for the business, they have a high failure rate. So we started this system, we designed it to really help these buyers overcome these challenges. So we wanted to make sure that the passive buyer, we work with them to speed up the process, so they either not buy a business if it's not right for them, or they can do it within a 6-month time frame. And the unrealistic buyer, they can understand, what is the expectations of the sellers in the marketplace, what's the current market environment. And then the buyer who really is a novice, we try and make sure they're educated enough to know what they don't know. A lot of buyers have someone they trust that they go to when they're going through the buying process. Typically it's a banker that they know, it's a CPA that they've had for a while, or it's an attorney that they know. The problem with that is these advisors really don't have the breadth and the depth of knowledge that our coaches have. For a banker, for instance, they understand the financing process, but how many transactions they actually do every year? A lot of bankers are general bankers, and they're not doing transactions on a regular basis. Same thing with attorneys and CPAs. Whereas our coaches, that's all they do is transaction work. And some of our coaches have over 25 years experience, and they've seen everything that you can think of in a transaction. They can help you anticipate problems before they happen, and they can take you through the process and make sure it goes smoothly, and they can make sure that you're getting into a business that's going to work for you and that you're going to be successful after the sale. We had a buyer that came to us that needed help buying a company. He had recently lost his job at a large company that he worked for 20 years. But right away he had job offers from other companies, but they're out of the area. He wanted to stay in his hometown, and he said, I really want to buy a company. I have all this great experience that I can utilize. He goes, but I don't know how to do that, and I also need to do it quickly because I don't want to lose these job opportunities that I have. So we took him through a process where first we helped him define what it was he's looking for. Now this is very tricky if you're a buyer who's never looked at a company before. So we start with a general profile, and then we introduce you to many companies. We took him to companies that were on the market, that were listed with other brokers and our firm as well. And we also introduced him to business owners who were not on the market, but who were looking for buyers. And this process of looking at companies helped this buyer narrow down his choices and focus in on one particular company that met his needs, that he could afford, and that would provide him the income that he was looking for. So once we identified this opportunity, we helped him to structure the letter of intent and negotiate the offer. We helped him get through the banking process. We worked through the purchase agreements and all the due diligence, and helped him finalize the transaction all within a few months. So within 1 month, we had the opportunity identified, and then within 3 months after that, we had the transaction closed, and he successfully had the business he was hoping he would have.